Nnuimtmo'taqan Agnutas'g Listugujg. Hi, my name is Michael Isaac and I'm the Communications Manager for the Listuguj government. Today on Nnuimtmo'taqan Agnutas'g Listugujg, we're here with Councillor Sky Metallic. Hi Sky, how are you?
I'm good, Mike. Thanks for having me.
This is your first time being re-elected. What differences do you see this time around than you did the first time you were elected?
Well, I think my approach would still be very similar. I mean, I would carry the same traits, integrity, honesty, and truth. I think as if any leader would remain to have these traits, you would at the end of the day, I think you would come out with some pretty strong leadership. The changes that we've had, I think I've voiced this with some close family members, but some of the new things that I had with the new change administration, or the new faces and the new councillors that come in, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it could be a little more exciting thing where you're coming in with these new perspectives and new ideas, and it just makes it for a little bit more exciting and maybe even a challenge and new mandate, I guess.
One of the major projects that you've been tasked with is the repairs for the community members who flooded in their most recent months. Can you give us an update on where you are with some of those homes and what homes have been completed at this point?
Sure. The flood, though, is what I do for my job as an employee through the LMG. We have 44 homes that were affected by the flood. And this is not all surface flood. It was kind of the rising of the water table, and it kind of got into a lot of basements. So this is, we have some displaced families. We have, we're doing as much as we can with resources available. And there's also another aspect of the flood too, is the Capelin Road issue with the Capelin Road and Boyer's Corner. So as my job as on council I was able to get all the parties responsible for the flooding issue to come to the table and come figure out, come to mitigate the flooding that we have at Boyer's Corner. So either that could be, bringing MTQ to the table, bringing the cross point to the table. We have the capital and infrastructure at the table. We have the council presence at the table. So we were able to have all parties come together and work towards a main issue that we all share.
And at this point, how many homes are either been lifted or have been complete? Are there any that are complete at this point?
Well, at this day, I think we're at day 112 of the flood. We have lifted probably about 3 homes. We have already I think we're setting one down today, as we speak. So that's where we are probably around today. We're trying to come up with some real issues and no band-aids for the fix. We're coming up with real issues or real solutions to fix our issues that we have with the flood.
What is your opinion on the code of conduct?
The code of conduct. I think the code of conduct is a great step forward for Listuguj, especially for the council. We have a lot of checks and balances in place that we have for our employees. We have the HR policy that helps with our employees, and we didn't have anything in place for council itself because we're not necessarily employees. We don't fall under the HR policy. So it was good to put some checks and balances in place with as far as council goes. It's just another step forward to self-governing and to really sort of step away from the INAC or Indian Act way of governing.
Is there anything that you could possibly do to make the code of conduct better or to improve on some of the policies that are in there at this point?
Yeah, for sure. I think just to hear some input from the people, I think to see how they would like the council to govern themselves moving forward, and even to get some input from new council, from existing council, from past administration. And I think to get their input would be very valuable into strengthening the code of conduct and bringing us into the future.
Are there any specific projects that you'd like to see complete or at least started before your term this year is over?
That's a good question. There's a lot of projects as far as like building. We've already started working on the elders facility. I would like to see a centralized government building where we have all our departments in one area. Maybe expand on our postal service. As far as maybe projects that are maybe more on the books, I would love to see maybe something with a youth council, Mi'kmaq constitution. Oh man, there's so much we could expand on our fishing law to have move into forestry, moose hunting. There's so much to do.
Actually, and those are some of the things hopefully we'll be seeing in the near future. One of the community questions that we've had, what we've done is that we've asked the community to submit their questions via our LMG Facebook page, and we've been receiving some on and off over the past couple of weeks. Now, one of them is that we haven't heard all that much about the recently acquired Bustede lands. Now, that has been ATR, or Addition to Reserve, for a few years now, and there hasn't been too much discussion that the community is aware of on what can be done to develop that land. Can you give us some of maybe your perspectives on what you think would be a good idea to utilize that newly acquired territory?
There have been some talk of residential development. There's been a lot of talk of economic development for that area. We always see a lot of progressive First Nations set up. They get outside franchises in to set up shop, and it could be another revenue source for Listuguj. So all those ideas are great. I would like to get lots more input from the community and see kind of what the direction that they would like to go to.
So, you had mentioned in your previous statement about a youth council. This is something that in this past election we've actually had quite a few youth running for politics. Now, some of those youth have actually received quite a large amount of votes. Is a youth council something that is on the table for this current chief and council to maybe have an implementation of something like that, or maybe even an elders council, following? Has there been discussions on that, and what are your opinions on the implementation of such councils?
It's definitely not out of the question. I think it's something that's been tried in the past. It does take some time and resources to set up some of these councils, but I think they could be a very integral part of Listuguj moving forward. Like you said, we had some youth running in our past elections, and I think that's great. I encourage our youth to get more involved in politics and kind of bring that passion to the council table if they can, and just bring it to the next level, and let's continue to move forward.
How do you envision the concept of Mi'kmaq governance in Listuguj or in Gespegawagi?
That's a good question, Mike. As I mentioned earlier, I would like to see a Mi'kmaq constitution. It could be created by Listuguj, it could be created by Gespegawagi, but I think that would be the real building blocks on good governance. Getting people involved would be another important aspect of it. Youth councils, elders council. We need to get everyone involved. We need buy-in from everyone, so we could maybe start building towards good governance. Talk about the Constitution. If you're going to go build a house, you don't go build your roof first. You start with your footing and your foundation, and that's kind of what the Constitution would act as.
I would like to thank Sky Metallic for joining me today on Nnuimtmo'taqan Agnutas'g Listugujg. We hope you tune into our next segment, which is coming up very soon. If you have any further questions that you would like to see asked on Nnuimtmo'taqan Agnutas'g Listugujg, please feel free to contact LMG Communications through our LMG Facebook page. Walalio.